And then she said the ancient phrase, "We are like the dreamer who dreams and then lives inside the dream."
Welcome to the Rewatchers in the Lodge, the podcast where we are talking about Twin Peaks and watching it and talking about it. And honestly, I'm thinking about it all the time. You're here with me, Tyler Harris, and
Marcus Marinos,
Riley Harris,
Tyler McKinley,
Mitchell Marshall,
Justin Hammer.
And this week we are going to be discussing parts 13 and 14 of season 3 of Twin Peaks. Part 13, What Story Is That, Charlie? Written by Mark Frost and David Lynch, directed by David Lynch, and originally airing August 6, 2017. And part 14, We Are Like the Dreamer, written by Mark Frost and David Lynch, directed by David Lynch, and originally airing August 13th, 2017. But don't worry, if you haven't seen a minute of these episodes, you're about to get caught up to speed at the speed of light by Mitchell Marshall. Go, Mitchell, do it.
It's a conga line with Dougie and the Mitchums. They've bought a car and a diamond cufflinks for Dougie's boss. The insurance douche crony is cowering in fear and calling Mr. Todd. Sonny Jim finally gets the gym set he deserves. It's lit, literally. Creepy music, spotlight and all. Rick is back. He has a massive theater screen for a security camera in his villain warehouse. Mr. C is there and they're surprised he's alive. He is informed that this will all be decided by an arm wrestling match. Winner gets the gang. Mr. C is toying with him and he wins and then punches him so hard in the face he breaks his face/skull/brains. Then he shoots Rick in the leg and turns down the accountant offering gang funds. Rick says Philip Jeffries is who wanted him to kill Mr. C. He gave him a Black Lodge ring to put on his finger after he killed him. The whole gang is watching on the theater screen, LOL. Now Mr. C wants the coordinates. Bang, Rick is dead. The ring disappears. Richard Horn is now present. Vegas police listen to some domestic violence. Then they're told Dougie escaped from prison and is also an FBI agent. Crooked cop and crooked insurance guy talk about poison plans. Chantal is on the road again, entering Utah, and they discuss faith and polygamy. Naomi drops off Dougie in their new BMW. Crooked insurance guy invites him to coffee. After one sip, Dougie makes an intentional motion, like a baby's first steps. Then Anthony, who I finally figured out the name of the crooked insurance guy, poisons his drink. He has a really bad dandruff and starts to cry and can't go through with the murder. Dougie takes his coffee and enjoys some cherry pie. Becky tells Shelley Steven is missing. Anthony tells his boss all about his corrupt shenanigans. Bobby joins Ed and Norma for a meal. They aren't together, damn it. She has a new boo helping her franchise to double R. Hers is the least profitable because she spends too much money making perfect pies. Dr. Amp and Nadine meet in person but don't immediately have intercourse. Her silent certain help beautifully display her golden shovel. Sarah Palmer watches a boxing clip over and over again and drinks heavily. Audrey's having an existential crisis. She doesn't know where she is or what she wants. Her husband says he might end her story. James plays the Roadhouse. Dreams come true. He's back. Two teen girls add the backup vocals. This is eerie because they don't not a little bit look like the other two girls. He also has another admirer in a booth watching and crying as he performs. At Ed's gas station, he looks sadly outside and sips on soup. Episode number 2. Cole calls motherfucking Twin Peaks. Lucy has been to Bora Bora. Truman tells him about Laura's diary pages. Albert tells Preston a story about the Blue Rose origin. Should I already know the story? Probably. The windows get cleaned. They powwow with Gordon and angry Diane, who is half sisters with Naomi. What? That one guy from that one sitcom is the FBI director in Las Vegas. Gordon recounts a dream about meeting Monica Bellucci at a Paris cafe. She says, we are like the dreamer that dreams and lives inside the dream, but who is the dreamer? Cole looks behind him in the dream and sees Cooper and Jeffrey's scene from Fire Walk with Me, where Jeffries asks who he thinks Cooper is. The Twin Peaks arrest Chad under the guise of inviting him for roast beef, and she's cruel but fits the crime. The Twin Peaks policemen we care about hike towards Jack Rabbit's palace. They grab some old dirt and put it in their pockets and head to Major Briggs' old spot. There in the fog lays a naked woman with skin over her eyes. At 2:53, a portal opens and Andy finds himself sitting with the giant, aka the fireman, in that weird black-white theater experiment place, I think. And we also see the skylight. And through a skylight, he sees the New York box monster vomit stream, the Gotta Light hobo ghost, the gas station, the red curtain, Laura Palmer's homecoming pic, the naked woman, Mr. C / Cooper flicker back and forth, a line on hold, himself helping Lucy walk, the number 6 on a light pole, but no partridge in a pear treat. Then he flickers back to Jack Rabbit's palace with the rest of the homies. He says, she's okay, but people want to kill her. Down the mountain we go. The others don't remember anything. Wow, that is 4 silver foxes. They put the naked lady in a cell, and Chad is a dick. A man with a messed up face mocks them and makes up sounds of a hamadryas baboon while he pees himself. She echoes back with bird sounds, probably. On his birthday, James is a security guard with a 23-year-old English friend named Freddie who has to wear a glove at all times like Rogue from X-Men. He says he wears the glove because he was sucked into a vortex into the air and talked to the fireman. Oh, here we go. The fireman told him to get the glove on his hand and he will be as powerful as a pile driver. He did accidentally kill the guy who came after him for stealing the glove. The fireman also told him to come to Twin Peaks. At Elks Point number 9, Sarah Palmer orders a Bloody Mary. A misogynist tries to chat her up. She rebuffs him, and when she doesn't take it well, she removes her face and bites off part of his neck, killing him. 2 friends talk at the Roadhouse. One is a shoplifter, and she says the last time she saw Billy, he ran into her house bloody and washed off in the sink and then ran right back out. Billy was banging her mom, Tina. We close with the best Roadhouse performance thus far.
Business as usual.
As per usual.
Oh man. Yeah, lots of fun stuff in these episodes, I feel like. Where do you guys want to start? Should we start in Vegas? I feel like we usually start in Vegas.
Provo Canyon.
Let's start. Yeah, let's.
Were they in Provo Canyon?
The intersection of Provo and Orem.
Yeah, 8th North, going up to Orem, or going further down University.
By the Ted Bundy bunker?
No, it's like right at the mouth of the canyon.
Bunker.
Like the intersection where you
Why
go
have a
up
nice-
8th North, or you continue to go down into Provo.
Is that it? Is
Yeah, that was it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it looked like
I-
a freeway to me, but
I didn't even look that closely because I just assume it's
I
in
saw
LA
the signs.
somewhere.
I was like, wait a sec, where is that? I know this place.
That's crazy.
So I
It took
went
me
back
like a
and watched it
second
again.
to
Why
even
were
realize
they
what was
there?
going on.
Where are they?
They weren't, like,
they were
filming
in. They were
anywhere.
in South Dakota, so they're
not
on
like
their
the
way to
characters. I
Nevada.
mean, like the crew.
Well, because they went to.
Because they killed the prison warden, right? And that was
Yeah.
in South Dakota, right?
Yes,
Been
and
driving
I
a
can't
long
remember. If,
time.
So now
are they
map their
going to
path.
meet him in Wyoming or something? I don't know where
Yeah.
they're going
Yeah.
exactly.
Vegas? Maybe?
David Lynch
Maybe.
just
Oh
had
yeah,
to
no,
say
they are
something
going
about
to
Mormons.
Vegas because they're Dougie's their next target.
That
Oh,
yeah,
right.
there we go.
Right? Yeah. So
So they took a detour through Heber.
yeah.
Heber's a nice town. Have you ever had the train burger at Dairy King? It's wonderful. Midway's beautiful.
They gotta stay at that
okay,
hotel with, like, the
remind
Swiss
me to send an
characters
invoice
on
to
it.
Dairy King for that sponsorship.
This podcast is brought to you by the Dairy King. I actually know the person who owns the Dairy King. He's a 3rd grade teacher
Get
as
him
well.
on
Wow.
the pod. Let's have him as a guest.
Were you even aware?
What was it like when they came
Has
through?
anyone ever come and given you Cheetos out of their back pocket? It might have been this person.
Yeah. So is that all we see of
That's
them
all
in these
we- it's
episodes? It's
super
just them
random.
driving,
Yeah.
right? I honestly I could watch an hour of them driving and talking about stuff because they're both such great characters. Like I think those actors are just so good at just playing 112% of whatever they need to. Like they're so
Like
so
the
fun.
Vegas FBI director who just shouts at that
my
dude who comes in.
That honestly, that is probably like in my top 5 favorite scenes in all of Twin Peaks. Just the line and that delivery. Yeah.
Tell you this is what we do in the FBI.
Just the slamming that's out of sync with what he's saying. Like he's not punctuating any specific words. He's just punctuating a beat to get him to the end of that is.
There are 23 Douglas Joneses in the greater metropolitan area.
23 is not that many.
How are we gonna find him?
Bring them all in.
This is what we do.
What's his name? Wilson?
Yeah, Wilson.
Wilson!
How many times do I can tell you, Wilson?
Wilson!
Oh,
Happened
man.
enough times that we've built up to merit this reaction.
Oh, such a great scene.
So beautiful. Okay, well let's talk about Vegas, where we learned that the Mitchum brothers are very bad at choosing music for a conga line. I'm pretty sure I didn't double check this. I should have, but I'm pretty sure that's a song off an album that David Lynch and Angelo Badalamenti released not like too long ago, like maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, called Thought Gang.
Why have I never looked up David Lynch on Spotify?
THOT, right?
What?
THOT.
Yes, it's actually the origin
He's way ahead of
Thought.
Yeah, that's the origin. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that song plays that entire scene too, and it's just it's so odd, like just weird dissonant stuff.
Also, not great with money. Seems like they spent a few million right away.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
They have
casino
30 million.
300 million or whatever.
There's 30.
There's
There's 30.
30 million.
Before
Come on,
taxes.
30 million is still a
Can
lot
you-
of
do you
money.
do you tax that?
Insurance payouts? I don't know.
This is
I would
charitable
think
giving,
so,
so
but-
obviously it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
True.
And honestly, like they were still like they lost $30 million and still were like able to resume their lives.
true.
They were pissed.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're sitting on a chunk.
They're just feeling good.
I love how they're
Yeah.
still pals with Dougie too, even though he did take $500,000 from their casino.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They
love him.
The fact that he took 400,000 of them and then gave them back the 30 million they thought they had lost makes him feel like a really good friend. I'm gonna borrow. Listen, I need to borrow $5 now, but I'm gonna give you 500.
I'll take it.
Every day.
This scene is just like it's one of the things that Twin Peaks does best, where it feels like they have like a rough idea of what the scene is. Like, all right, you guys are gonna come in and give them some gifts, and then like do the most ridiculous shit you can possibly think of. And then they come in a conga line, and fucking Anthony's like hiding behind his desk, like,
It's so good. I love that. The other thing I love about this scene is Candy, Sandy, and Mandy bring in gifts for Mullins. He asks what they are, and then Candy goes through and opens every single one of them and is so shocked to find what is inside and tells him exactly what it is.
But, like, tells them what they are before she can, like, show them. It's like she opens it, but you can't see what it is, and then she tells them.
Just that moment at the end, she's like, and this one is the key to your brand new car. Like, she's just so excited.
I just want to know what David Lynch said to her.
Candy.
What's the direction for that?
I don't know, man. She's great. She's so delightful. So yeah, and Anthony's obviously like freaking out. We get some more of the Fusco brothers in this episode where they're basically like, get this shit. Apparently, he just broke out of a jail in South Dakota and he's a missing FBI agent. And there's like this moment where like you're waiting for them to be like, holy shit, we're in over our heads. And there's like, well, fucking bullshit, right?
dollar? Huh?
Oh, the Fuscos.
Also, the intro to that scene where there's just screaming and pandemonium happening.
Oh, yeah.
They're
in the bad back
tasing
room.
someone.
They're just sitting there.
Yeah.
Don't react at all.
After he's like given directions to someone on the phone where he's like, yeah, you're going to have to turn
His
around.
mom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, his
we got
mom,
the
that's right,
confirmation that they are brothers.
Yes.
At least two of them.
So good.
So many brothers in this.
So yeah, Fusco's delightful. I guess let's talk about Anthony now. And his whole kind of arc in this episode. Because we basically get the confirmation, like, this has been set up earlier with the idea that if Dougie's not dead by a certain point, it's now Anthony's job to take him out. Which I don't think that he would be someone that I would want to, like, hire for that purpose. Doesn't seem particularly skilled in that area.
He doesn't
I
even
didn't
know what poison to use.
True.
I didn't think he
True.
was that much of a coward, though. Like, it seems like that's what he got to do. It also reminded me of the Breaking Bad scene where they
The ricin.
the ricin, yeah,
The ricin,
And
Jesse.
I don't know. I just think I could go through with it. If I was worried about my life and that much money and
Okay,
stuff, I think I could do it.
All right.
All right.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, okay.
Mitchell literally just said, we have a recording of Mitchell saying he would murder somebody if he needed to.
If you think that's the worst thing we have Mitchell recorded saying over the last little while.
That's right. Tyler was nonplussed. He's like, yeah, so that's a completely normal statement. If I was in that situation, which I would never be in, because I really live, I live a lawful life.
You can check out Mitchell's solo podcast, A Lawful Life, debuting next week.
Have you ever wondered how someone goes through every day, every commute without breaking a single law? Let me tell you.
I hate this.
I'll
But yeah.
subscribe.
I mean, he does almost go through it. I think the most shocking thing we see in these scenes is the amount of dandruff on that man's jacket.
And I noticed that even before, like, Dougie, like, went over there and was like, touching it. And stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on?
Well, it's
there?
weird. Like early in the, because when he's crouched behind his desk, you can just see a just
gross.
mountain of it on there, and that's fun.
It's just a shampoo. I don't get it.
Yeah, I feel like it's an easy problem to fix.
Dude, Head and Shoulders, it's the number one dermatologist recommended.
I always thought you were a
God damn it, I'm
Selsun
going to
Blue
add
back.
that to
I'm
my
not gonna lie.
invoice list. Head and Shoulders and Dairy Keen.
Have you ever seen the movie Evolution? Starring
Yes, I
David
have.
Duchovny
You mean
and
the
Mos Def?
hour and a half long commercial for dandruff?
Literally, they kill the monsters with Head and Shoulders.
What?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
What the fuck is this?
We have movies
Evolution.
It's so
where
good.
Selsun
Is that a
Blue
poster
is the result.
that had a
Air,
smiley face with 3
water.
eyes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Starring
yeah.
David Duchovny.
Is your shirt?
No.
It's not
Oh,
Arsenio
wait a
Hall.
minute.
It's
I
also
know
not-
exactly.
I get it mixed up all the time.
was-
And Sean William Scott.
in the
Yes.
first one.
Oh, I
when,
saw. That's so
I can't
weird. I
remember his
watched
name,
the
purple dude's
preview for
assistant
this movie like a few
gets
weeks
the
ago.
scare
because
sucked out of him, and he's like a
I was
corpse.
looking at
It's
Duchovny.
kind of gross.
Okay, no.
Glad we got that.
Moving on. There was bad dandruff.
There's bad dandruff. What? Okay, I actually have a weird theory about why Dougie is attracted to Anthony Sinclair's dandruff. This is. Does anyone think that there's a significance to that?
I'm going to guess something to do with his faint memory of cocaine and
That's what I
Laura
was gonna
Palmer.
Oh,
Okay,
all right.
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good because mine is just the only thing that I can think of is him falling through the sky for so long and through all the stars and then being on top of that thing and there's just all the stars out there and I'm like, there's white specks on black. So he's looking into space. He sees the universe in Anthony Sinclair's jacket. Saves his own goddamn life.
I got a confession. I didn't realize it was dandruff.
What did you think it was?
I thought when he poisoned him, it was like powder poison, and it got on his hands. And there's a part where he wipes it off, and I thought that's a lot of that to be on there for the little that he wiped off. So I feel really dumb now.
The only reason I questioned if it was dandruff because I wasn't sure is because there was so much. I was like, is that possible?
Yeah. Well, when you're not using Head and Shoulders dermatologist recommended shampoo,
Yeah.
it is.
It says it right on the fucking bottle.
Head and Shoulders. It says it right on the fucking bottle. So, anyways, okay. So that whole scene plays out.
Oh, and when he goes into the bathroom and throws the coffee in the toilet, and the guy's like, that, huh? Also, that guy was just listed in the credits as Malone. The man at the urinal?
Yes.
Malone.
Yes. I love that so much.
I do think it's important in that scene. Well, one, he meets with his cop friend who, after he talks to the cop talks to another cop. It seems like he maybe has been in actually might be undercover, might actually be monitoring him and not corrupt.
It's like a gruffer Mr. Feeney.
Well, because I think who they were going to contact was Mr. Todd.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I think that they are in cahoots, and I think that it's the we see on the paperwork earlier when Dougie's scrawling all over it.
Yeah.
We see Anthony Sinclair's name and then the same detectives' names on almost all of those.
okay. So it's multiple.
Yeah. So there is something going on there.
Another important observation is I felt like Dougie's stand up and go towards the pie was one of the more reacted. He's always reacted to pie, badges, coffee, but this seemed to be one where he noticed something out of the blue and took the most action. And I also think he says something unprompted in one of these episodes, and I wish I would have taken note of it. But I feel like he's coming to a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which again I've lost faith that we're going to get full Cooper.
Which is funny because also earlier in this scene, Anthony Sinclair's waiting for him, and as he's walking into the building, just full on smacks his whole face into the glass door.
That's actually where I lost hope that
So good.
we were gonna see him make progress. I was like, how the hell does he not know how to open a door yet?
Hey, he got out of the car alone in one of these episodes, so
I think the door was
you
open.
guys are
for
only
him.
noticing
The
the
door
mistakes.
And it was a convertible.
Yeah.
Well, he's. Oh my god! You guys
It's
are
a
so
new
mean.
car. He doesn't. It's a new car. They work differently sometimes. So yeah. So his whole and then his that conversation with Mullins. I think it's funny, and the way that Anthony Sinclair reacts to him is maybe also giving Dougie more credit than anyone else gives him, because when he's like, I'll confess everything, and Dougie's just like, confess. He's like, yeah, I'll confess, Dougie. It's like this weird, like, he might be the only one that's sort of still on the fence about being like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? But yeah, is there anything else I guess let's talk about the Janie E stuff. The gym, we just see the gym set.
Hell yeah. Finally.
Sunny gym set, what up?
He can be a real boy now that he has a gym set.
And luckily it came with a spotlight and Christmas lights attached.
I was like, where the hell's that spotlight coming from?
Yeah.
Who's manning it?
I think one of my favorite moments in this is when Janie E is talking to Dougie. He's kind of doing that normal repeating thing, and then she's like, I love you, Dougie. And he just mouths the words love you, and it's like, I don't know what it is about that. It's just like a nice moment. I just feel like it's really good. I don't know.
I hope when Cooper returns to Cooperness, he takes those 2 to Twin Peaks with him and adopts them
Adopts a wife.
as his lover.
I'd like to formally adopt you as my lover. Maybe that's
I'm not
why
legally Dougie, but
yeah. So I can't think of anything else that happens in Vegas other than that delightful FBI scene. Yeah, I think that's it. So let's go to Bad Coop and the world's toughest gang from the 50s that's still hanging out together. Whoever the fuck they are.
This is the shit I live for in this season now. Like, it's weird because in seasons 1 and 2, I was like, oh yeah, I live for the weird stuff, like the Black Lodge. Now I'm like, I'm here for the kooky, wild shenanigans that David cooks up. Like,
I want to see what he thinks a dark and gritty real world looks like. It's gangs where guys arm wrestle
they
their way to
have
the
a
top.
whole fucking room with one table in the center for that very purpose.
Now, I wanted to talk to you about this, actually, because
I've been waiting.
I think before we started this, you had watched that Kyle MacLachlan
yes,
GQ
the GQ
video. Yeah,
and it
this
shows
is the
just a
scene.
small clip, the arm wrestling scene, and I'm like, oh my god. I've been waiting forever for this scene.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Like, what, I guess, what what sticks out to you about this
Did
scene?
it live up to expectations?
Oh yeah. Especially the punch in the face that kills the dude after. That was wild.
It's so good. This scene is just filled with stuff I think is so great. That huge screen, that holodeck Star Trek ass screen they have in this warehouse to look into the next room. Like, what the
They can also change camera angles to a closer shot.
Yeah, it's just shots that they got. Oh man.
Well, that's what I loved is after the arm wrestling scene, he's just sitting there talking to Ray, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
And then
That
it just
fucker
cuts
Ray.
to everyone just like watching and listening to everything they're saying.
after he was like, we want to be alone. And then he looks at the camera on his way out.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
That one, like, accountant guy who's a part of the gang.
So good.
Did you need any money?
I was like, I mean, I love that was included. I think it's hilarious. I would have almost preferred it if they would have just left it where, like, he's just in those shots in the background and they didn't, like, cut back to him at all.
Standing there.
I do love it reminds me so much of that moment in season 2 when the insurance guy comes to Catherine Martell at night about
that weird
the life
scene.
insurance thing.
Yeah.
He feels like such a spiritual successor to that character who's just like, I'm here to do a job and I'm gonna do it well.
I may not fit in your
Do you
world.
need any money? And then
Yeah.
when he tells him no, he just like is like so like
All right.
I'm up.
The lawyer in oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the show right now? With
Tailspin.
no
Fuck.
about the Bluths. Michael
Arrested
Bluth.
Development.
Yeah, there's the
What a
professional.
pro.
Yeah, what a pro. That's who I thought of when I saw this guy.
I'll hide myself behind this
Yeah.
garbage can. Oh gosh, yeah, that's true. What a pro.
There was some interesting information revealed in that scene.
Yeah. What stood out to you guys about that?
He had the ring in his pocket, and then he was told to put the ring on him after he killed him, but he, I guess, forgot
Ray
to
was
do
told
it.
to put it on after.
Right,
Yeah. Right.
But he never did it, and I wonder if I guess that ring, well, after Mr. C finally kills Ray, he has the ring on, and the ring disappears, and then Ray also disappears and appears in the Black Lodge. or whatever that area is called. I don't even know.
Yes,
what
do
to
we
call
see
it.
him in there? We
Yeah.
see him on the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
But not in the chair like we've seen other
Right.
No,
people.
just on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, he did.
Do we know the rules of the world of how the ring gets out of the Black Lodge? Do people have to go through a painting in a dream, or like how strict is that rule?
Because Laura doesn't have it after that dream still because it disappears again, right?
Does it?
Does she
Right.
just
I don't
dream it?
remember.
Because then Mike has it later when he drives up to them and is like, "Whoa!" screaming and
Oh,
revving the gas.
hell?
So yeah, let's. I want to try to trace this at least from what we know. So Teresa Banks is the first person we see have it. And then Agent Desmond goes to touch it. It is lying on a pile of dirt under her trailer. He goes to touch it, and then it fades away. We don't see what happens to him. The next time we see it is probably Laura seeing it in her dream, and then it's in her hand and then gone in Firewalk With Me, if I remember correctly. That might be wrong, but I know she sees it at least. And then Mike has it. And then maybe the next time we see it would be Annie
Yeah.
in Firewalk With Me. Yeah, in the hospital.
One of the girls had it also in Firewalk With Me. The woman that Leland was sleeping with.
Yeah, Teresa Banks. Yeah,
That was
so she
Teresa,
the first
right.
one. Yeah. Yeah, and then after that we see it with Dougie next, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Doug-
yeah.
That's the next time
But don't we
see
see it just on that table a few times in between?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, when in time are
And
we
has
seeing
there only
those in the
ever
Black
been
Lodge
one
for sure?
ring?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe that's the case because it does come in and out of the Black Lodge and get set back on that table. Sometimes it's not there, so I think that does
I
point
just
to the
remember
fact that
because we
it's
kind of
singular.
see that symbol and then we see the other symbol, and I couldn't remember if both had been on the ring. But
Yeah,
I'm sure there's someone who has written something called the Path of the Ring.
I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure that this information out there. But yeah, it's a weird thing. Because yeah, we've seen Dougie be pulled into the Black Lodge and then be disintegrated essentially down to his seed, and that's it. I guess is what is in him. But yeah, so that's interesting. I'm trying to remember what else he revealed. What else Ray talks about in that scene.
Is there another location that he says right before Nega Coop shoots him?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
the
mentions
Dutchman's.
Dutchman's.
The Dutchman's, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
But it's not a real place, and then he shoots him. Yeah, I know where it is, or
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You're right.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, beyond that, let's
And
talk
Richard Horn shows up and watches
Richard
him
Horn's there,
kill
that's right.
Ray.
that. That gross
Yeah.
Yeah, he
asshole.
wasn't there the whole time, right? He just comes
No.
at the end.
He's been missing for no.
Yeah,
I'm
because he
thinking of somebody else.
left Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
No, but I just mean in that sequence, he's only there at the very end.
yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
we see him.
He's not at the fight or before.
I mean, I
that.
think you're
Okay.
probably insinuating that he probably is there
Oh,
just
really?
by him
Okay.
coming out, but we don't see him on
I was wondering,
camera.
like, he just showed up to work and he was like, "Oh shit!"
yeah.
We
Everyone's
definitely didn't
watching the
see him
TV.
beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, he sticks out. He looks like when Bear Grylls gets stung by a bee in that one episode, and
Yeah,
his face swells up.
he actually was his double for that.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about the arm wrestles, just the actual arm wrestling, which I think is so weird and delightful. Just Coop's all of his lines during that when he's just like back to starting positions. Like the second time that happens, and that guy's like, "I am fucked." Like
Ray is like
such a
crying in the back.
yeah,
Oh no.
yeah.
It's so monotone. He's just like, "This position is uncomfortable, but down here, this one is even more uncomfortable."
Yeah.
Back to starting position.
See,
See how do you like it, motherfucker? Yeah, he didn't think he was thinking that.
Yeah, it was subtext. The subtext was there. Subtext was shouting.
Yeah.
Do you feel that, motherfucker? But yeah, it's
Well, with
only
that
in Twin Peaks. I feel like.
I want to say I don't know what connection Nadine would ever have to the Black Lodge, but like or any vortexes, but she had super strength for a while, remember?
True.
And we know that this kid says that the kid with the gloved hand that we'll talk about says that he has a very powerful hand. Like he
Yep.
seemed to have killed someone in a similar way.
It's a
And
strong hand.
honestly, a lot of those connections, like that connection. I'm like, is that too blatant? Would he do that? But today we also got like a bomb dropped. The connection between Naomi Watts and Diane. I just equate this because it was so sudden and like, oh, we're gonna connect two things right here.
Yeah.
It seemed so un-Twin Peaksy.
Yeah, it's really weird. And it's so, especially season 3, I think, is fascinating. We've talked a lot about how this was a 500-page script that they shot and then kind of like cut up later. And it really does feel, especially the last 4 episodes, I feel like is evidence of like this very like novel-like layout where it's like you're being introduced to all of these people and interacting with all these stories, and I feel like the drive toward the climax of this show is done literally just by connecting 2 dots that you have not connected yet, or that you may not have thought would be connected. Yeah. And it's fascinating to see a show do that where like I'm so excited just when 2 things that I know are spoken, like something I know about is spoken by someone I know doesn't know about it. And like it's such a weird thing. Like I don't know another show that does it to this level like that, but it's fascinating.
So Mr. C super strength. Have we seen him use super strength up until this point?
I mean, the first scene we see him in when that guy comes out with the shotgun, it's like barely a flick of his wrist to like knock that guy out. And like, so yeah, I think we get the feeling that he's
everything he does is with quite a bit of ease.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think beyond that, I think we can go to Twin Peaks for the rest of this.
We had a lot of stuff in Twin Peaks. It was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love all that stuff.
I kind of am interested to like see if this exists out there. Someone who has made just a cut of the return of only the stuff that's happened in Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what kind of like fan edits and stuff there are and kind of cutting that stuff together.
Should we do that? Like the Gordon stuff first?
Yeah, I was literally just going to start that. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to start with that really?
Yeah. Gordon calls Lucy, and that's like one of my favorite things to happen in a while. Because he's just like, oh, you've been there all these years. And she's like, well, like I've gone on vacation. We went to Bora Bora.
I think the only thing I don't like about this scene is Gordon Cole doesn't say Bora Bora. Like I want just like Bora Bora, huh? Like I just want to hear that.
Bonsai.
Yeah.
He just like stares off like, wow, it really hasn't changed. Like she's the same person.
Yeah. But yeah, his conversation with Truman, who is not the Truman he was expecting, which I think is another thing. It's like Gordon Cole keeps encountering these people from his past, but they're not who he's expecting quite. You know, it's a weird thing like with Cooper and now with Truman. But they have a pretty good talk, and he gets kind of updated on the Laura Palmer case and gives the very FBI answer of like, I appreciate the information, even though I can't comment on it. Like, it's just so official. What a pro. Just the FBI in Twin Peaks is the FBI I wish we had. Just chasing weird shit. That's what I want.
How many times do I have to tell you this is what we do?
We're in the people finding division of the FBI.
Man, can we get a spin-off of just the Vegas FBI unit?
It's just this. It's like a sitcom structure that like the cut to the credits always happens directly after him yelling at that guy about something. It's just the theme song comes up. So yeah, that stuff's all great. Let's talk about the Blue Rose Task Force actually real quick and just their quick scene. So we get a little bit more information about the origin of. We actually get where the name Blue Rose comes from for these cases, and some other weird information is dropped that I want to see. What did you guys think of that scene? What did you guys take from that scene with Tammy and Diane and all that stuff?
So this is we have the story about the first Blue Rose case, and I can't remember the lady's name that they're talking about.
Lois Duffy.
Lois Duffy, yeah.
Lois, and there's mention of 2 Loises, and one of them kills the other one, and the one who dies fades away. And so there's that whole Twin Peaks kind of like duality thing is happening in this story. And obviously our connection to that is two Coopers that we are currently dealing with.
Yeah. There's also a word. I just want to know if you guys caught it or recognize it that Tammy says. Yes. Oh, you're literally looking up right now? Okay, cool.
I pulled it up on Wikipedia as soon as I heard it because I was like, what the fuck is that? It's
Yeah.
tulpa?
Yeah,
And
tulpa.
the Wikipedia entry says, tulpa is a concept in mysticism and the paranormal of a being or object which is created through spiritual or mental powers.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Tammy's a
really weird.
smart gal.
Smart cookie, that Tammy. But yeah, so a tulpa is something that you can create in your basically a separate personality that you can create within your own mind that has opinions. I think like one of the hallmarks of it is that it has opinions separate from your own. It is like a full fleshed out being in your head.
Yeah, like a persona. Yeah.
A persona, exactly.
God.
Go Sonic Fox.
Like
It's a real deep dumbass cut. Does anyone else watch a fighting game? You know Sonic Fox, right?
I know who Sonic Fox is, yes. But,
Okay. I mean,
but I know Justin's the biggest fan.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So it's like taking an imaginary friend to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in kind of like what it insinuates in this story is that not only was it a mental manifestation of something, but in the case of Lois Duffy, an actual physical manifestation. Yeah, which is intense and weird. But yeah, then we have the revelation from Diane. We also have a scene before Diane comes in that feels
incredible.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's amazing. For some reason I was watching it, it connected itself in my mind to the Fire Walk With Me scene where Gordon Cole's like, "Here's your present," and Lil comes out and does her little dance thing. Like the way that he's washing that window, I'm like, he's communicating something or something.
I was like, nobody washes a window like this.
Yeah.
This is crackhead movement behavior. Like, it's so sporadic.
This is Cooper before he falls into New York. He's falling through time. And he's trying to get a message to Gordon Cole.
That's like how I squeegee my shower when it's like freezing cold and I turn the water off. I'm like trying to like hurry, but then I miss spots. So.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. And just Gordon Cole's pained face as his ears are stabbed with the sound of squeegee.
It hurt me too. Turn down the volume.
All of us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mitchell. We didn't give you the adequate respect there.
I just want to say, not only people with hearing aids get hurt by high-pitched noises.
True.
We're raising awareness. I can't talk. Wow. Raising awareness. Raising awareness.
People with perfect hearing also get affected. And I don't think it's fair to those people with hearing loss that you treat them differently.
It's definitely not fair. All right. Before this goes to places I do not want to go.
We're so good at that.
So that kind of ends their stuff for these episodes. We get a little bit of
we talked about
revelation
the dream.
And Diane.
Oh shit! Yeah, let's talk about.
My goodness.
Let's talk about Monica Bellucci.
Who is
Favorite
that?
thing ever.
She is
The
a
famous
she's a
actress.
person. Yeah, she's
a French
real life
actress.
person that David Lynch loves.
Did she play herself?
Yes.
Was that actually
yes, that's
her?
Monica
Yeah.
Bellucci.
When it was
Yeah.
actually her, I like lost it. I
Yeah,
was like, there's
yeah.
no way.
I honestly, when I was first watching this, I was like, Monica Bellucci dream. Okay, we're gonna see like the back shot of her.
I mean,
head.
we
Yeah.
all have Monica Bellucci dreams, okay?
I mean, yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure that's like if you're not Jewish, that's your bar mitzvah.
I came of age with Monica Bellucci, if you know what I mean.
I like how he said it was
I had to
another
Google it,
one, too. I had another Monica Bellucci dream.
As if he's told them about them before, too.
He's like, oh, I don't want to hear another one. Like, please.
But also enough that they are not, like, disgusted when they hear that either. They know it's not going to be like a sexual thing.
Right.
It's just,
They know that Monica Bellucci is his guide in some supernatural plane.
which is what I love about this scene.
Yeah. Cooper gets the man from another place, and Gordon Cole is being guided by Monica Bellucci.
We all have our spirit guides.
Yeah. His path to enlightenment's a little bit slower, but he likes it that way.
In fact, her presence is so overwhelming. I forget what happens in the dream before she shows up. Something important happens, and I can't remember what it is.
I just remember the line, I was in Paris on a case. And then he was meeting her for coffee, and she
Coop
brought
was there.
friends.
He
who were
couldn't
very
see
nice.
Oh, yeah,
his
he-
face.
yeah,
Coop
Yes.
was there, yeah.
Couldn't see Coop's face, and then she says something interesting, some Willy Wonka bullshit that she goes off on about being the dreamers and
Yeah.
something about music makers.
I'm
I
sure
don't
we
know.
have
Yeah.
that specifically, Riley.
Yeah.
Do you have that? I'm sure. Yeah.
We're like the dreamer who dreams and then lives inside the dream. And then she follows it up with, but who is the dreamer?
And we've talked about how I can't remember the theory about like something after something in season 2, everything being
Firewalk
a
with me.
dream.
Yeah.
Whose dream did they say was?
So basically the Agent Desmond stuff in Firewalk with Me is Agent Cooper's dream about him actually working on the case. Which is a
Okay.
weird thing. It's really complicated. There's a lot of details to it. You can find there's an essay by John Thorne online that you can find that's really cool. But yeah, basically the Desmond stuff is Cooper's dream of him trying to process the Teresa Banks.
Is that how you
Murder.
read this scene? Or I mean, maybe
sorry,
you're the wrong
what- I guess
person.
what
Maybe
do you
you're the
mean by
wrong
that?
person to ask because maybe there's
Yeah.
stuff revealed later that says otherwise. Did anyone else read that differently? Like what that line means?
I guess how are you reading this scene? Like, kind of walk me through what you're thinking of this scene in the context.
Oh,
of that.
I honestly haven't given a thought other
Okay.
than it's like, oh yeah, there's that theory about the dream. That's probably what it means, and then I didn't like I didn't go into it any further because I'm lazy. But I was wondering if anyone else did or if no one has any thoughts on it. But.
I don't know, because it leads into all the Philip Jeffries stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gordon looks behind him, sees the younger version of himself, and then we see that scene from Firewalk with Me.
Yeah,
Where David Bowie's voice is now dubbed over, right?
right. Yes, this is the different Philip Jeffries.
Makes me
voice.
sad.
Yeah, but it was what David Bowie like. They
Yeah.
only changed that because David Bowie hated his voice in Firewalk with Me, which is a bummer. But yeah, I think that's like the most interesting part of this dream. I also there's something about seeing repurposed footage from like the older stuff, especially where this is in like this black and white. You know, it's different than it was before, but it's still those same shots. It has a weird effect on me, I feel like.
Seeing Cooper as Cooper again is so jarring. At
Yeah.
this point. Like just even those couple lines, like oh yeah, this was that's what he's
That's
like.
what Cooper is like, yeah.
The age difference in Cole too is like really like.
Yeah.
Oh, Cole was like, just think that David Lynch was that young looking when he made Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Well, and I think because Cole says something after telling him about, while he's telling him that, he also says, which I had forgotten. Like he had forgotten the day that the man he came up with through the training academy started this niche little group of investigators within the FBI. He forgot the day that guy had disappeared for a couple years, showed back up again, and then vanished in front of his
And that was
eyes.
the last time you ever saw him.
Yeah.
That's
Wait, I thought he was like saying more he forgot like that specific part of the exchange. Was the interpretation supposed to be like, oh no, I forgot that memory?
I think that he says the day I had forgotten. Like he had
Interesting.
forgotten that day.
because I was on the same
Which
impression as
is-
Mitchell that he just forgot the segment of him saying, "Who do you think this is?"
That is
Okay.
exactly what I
well,
thought.
and that might be right, but I think that's still like a notable thing, like a
sure.
notable detail to forget. The only reason I kind of bring that up as a specific thing is because we also get that later in these episodes, which we'll
Right.
talk about at Jack Rabbit's Palace. The three men who are left at Jack Rabbit's Palace also have no memory of what's happened over the last however long
Right.
they've
Yeah.
been there.
Well, and it's interesting what their experience is because his experience was like in the middle of a day at his office, but clearly there were Black Lodge things going on. Like, don't we see Philip Jeffries like he flickers in the footage, and then he goes away. The things he says, the way he acts, like it all does seem to be kind of otherworldly. So,
well, because Cooper's doing that thing where he's walking in front of the security camera and then coming back into the room and walking out, and then Philip Jeffries comes in. Like, there's weird shit going on.
I feel like we've had a couple other instances where people are like, I don't. Well, I mean, Hastings said he was like, I don't remember.
Yeah,
he walked past that. So seems like there's some connection, whereas we get a brand new character talking to James who has not mattered in this story, but thank goodness he came back to say, and he's just like, I remember my whole Vortex experience.
True, yeah.
So we now know, some have and some haven't.
Yeah. Well, and Andy, I think you look at Andy in that situation, like he also has a Vortex experience, can remember everything.
And he even knows more than we do because he seems to know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And because Hastings kind of remembers some things. There's one more instance where someone is like, "Oh yeah, like this." I completely lost it. But there's one more experience where someone was like, "Yeah, I've forgotten, and now I know what happened."
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, like almost a deja vu.
Yeah. Well, and it's Oh man, I feel like there's so many weird things you can read into after this too. Of just like the way that Bobby reacts to seeing that picture of Laura Palmer at first feels so over the top. But if it is one of those things that you could lump into this where it's like he has forgotten key elements of that and then that's all brought back. I don't know. That's reading into it really deeply, but I think there's really interesting stuff to read into there. But yeah, so we get that dream. We'll probably talk more about this as we talk about some of this other Twin Peaks stuff. So let's go on to that.
There was one more thing we didn't talk about.
Oh, go ahead.
Diane came in and she confirmed that the last time she saw Cooper, they talked about Briggs. And then they show her the ring that was in Briggs' stomach. And it was like to Dougie from Janie E. And she recognized that name because Janie is her stepsister, like her estranged or half sister or something.
Half sister, I think, is what they
so
say.
she's like her estranged half sister.
She does not like
So they're gonna go to Vegas.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
It seems like people like Vegas and Twin Peaks. There's going to be some converging here. Maybe not between those two, but at those places. And once they realize that there's two Coopers or Cooper-esques, and we know where the coordinates go, which probably means Mr. C's headed there. I'm just excited. Like, I think we've been going along, and I've been into it the whole time, but because David Lynch tells stories so uniquely, I was like, I don't know how much of a climax we're going to get, but we kind of turned a corner here where we're ramping up some connections and some things. So I think in the next two episodes, obviously won't be the ultimate giveaway, but I feel like we're going to have some bigger moments, which I like. I don't like when a show feels like it needs to save everything for the penultimate episode in the finale. Like, you got to surprise me and give me something big before I get there. So
for sure.
I'm excited for some things.
Yeah, it's great.
Especially now we're spending more time in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Like you said, we have maneuvered there. Like, turns out we're just not going to be in Buckhorn a lot, even though it really seemed like it was going to matter.
They really set it up like, for
Bastards.
sure. So yeah, let's talk about some of the characters from the olden Twin Peaks that we don't get to see as much. We get a great scene, Norma and Ed and Bobby's stuff at the diner. Like, I just love Norma and Ed's relationship with Bobby, where they like make him come and eat with them, and like it's just a
especially
good
like
family.
What I immediately thought of when they invited him to sit down, I was like, I'm pretty sure this kid beat the shit out of you at the Roadhouse. one time. After you were maybe drugged.
I had forgotten about that. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know. That's one of those things where it's like, I just think
maybe he forgot about it, like everyone else in this damn episode.
He's gonna remember. He's gonna rip Bobby's head off. But yeah, that's just one of those sweet moments. I just
say that Bobby has become like one of my favorite characters in Twin Peaks now. Like, who I'm rooting for the most, which is so messed up for like how he was the seasons 1 and 2. Like,
and they didn't do a whole lot to make that happen either. Is the weirdest part.
He's just older now, and he's a cop. Like,
but I think his sadness really makes sense for someone who was sort of a straw dog in high school. Like, we're all somewhat around a decade out of high school, and man, I know a lot of people who were successful who were assholes in high school, but I also know a lot of people who were that Bobby, like they were elevated, whether it was in the partying and drug scene or in the athletic scene, and they're living a very normal suburban life now. And I think for Bobby, who also had so much death and stuff, like his torn and his pain, like, totally makes sense. But it's a huge turnaround. I'm very curious when I watch the first 2 seasons again if I will be able to still give him that generosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think for me too. I mean, even within the first 2 seasons, there are moments. I'll say within the first 15 episodes, like before he goes into business, which is fucking.
He just wears an over. That thing is, he's not even that bad. He just wears an oversized suit.
Yeah,
He's a little bitch.
Business Bobby is the worst Bobby. But I think in Fire Walk with Me, even you get to see so much more of that like pain that he is carrying.
Yep.
And in this it does. I think there's so much of just a relief that seems to be somewhat well adjusted, and is like, but yeah, he's really great. I love the way they tie that stuff to his dad in this season.
His emotion when they go to that spot is good. Like, it's actually good acting, and that guy, even in this season, can be accused of not being a good actor pretty often.
Yeah, there are moments.
But it seems like when things come back to his father or Laura Palmer, that character really comes through, and it completely makes sense. Like, how many kids do you know that are like because of their parent? His dad was overly strict, but there was this deep love, and so that trauma producing this person, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's really great. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that later. Let's talk about Nadine and Dr. Amp, the super couple the world needs.
We didn't know we needed it.
Well, we still don't quite know the status of her and Ed's
Right,
marriage.
yeah. We have no idea. We have not seen them together at all yet.
Man, if Ed went... Oh, Ed, because you got to think she was the one that got away, and you let her get away again. And, fool me once. Yeah. Yeah. Just go with it.
That whole scene with them is so great. And just Dr. Amp being like, the last time I saw you, you were down on all fours just looking for a potato. Like, what the? So weird.
Was he present in that final scene that we see them in season 2, the finale? Was he in the living room with them, or was it just the four of them?
That's a good question. I don't remember, honestly. I'm not sure. I can't recall now. It would make sense that he might have been, but yeah, I don't remember.
Because when he started saying that, that's what I thought he was going to say.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I was
interesting.
like, oh, sweet, we're going to get some info. And then,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that could have been really cool. So yeah, I love that the backdrop of that scene is his golden shovel constantly being covered and uncovered by drapes you cannot hear.
There's some things that they're like not bringing back, and it seems like because they don't want to be too fan servicey, and then things that they're like, yeah, we're gonna do it hard.
Remember those drapes? Remember how everyone watched Twin Peaks and then silent drapes became the craze that swept the nation? They're back, baby. But yeah, that's great. We get another Audrey scene. How are we feeling about Audrey? This is the second time we've seen her?
I actually think that we're watching. She's an actress. I think that we're watching a soap opera that she's performing in.
That would be incredible.
Okay.
Other than the Billy thing, makes zero freaking sense. Like she's screwed up in the head. Maybe like when the explosion happened, she hit her head on the wall. But man, she seems emotionally out of it. She doesn't know what shit's going on. Like he seems like fake. He doesn't even seem real. Her
He
husband
seems uninterested.
I'm
in
wondering
her,
if
like, turmoil.
he's like.
and he got left.
I'm wondering if she's like in an insane asylum. Like that. This is like a weird experimental treatment. Like that's her doctor, not her husband, but he's
Ooh, I
pretending
like
to be
that.
to try and like help her out of something, just because of the way he treats her and the way she's acting.
Yeah.
Or it is like some sort of Black Lodge stuff. Like she is trapped in some sort of weird supernatural state. I feel like because that's why she can't remember anything, and she's like having this breakdown.
And I was waiting to see. I was like, are we going to see her at the Roadhouse and actually be there? Look, because we hear people talking about Billy. So it's like, hey, if she is connected to the road, which she probably is, I'm just, man, she's so far out there, and it makes it wonder, like, what's the timing? They're not actually ever leaving or doing anything about this. It's only been 2 scenes, but it seems like we've already heard them talk around this so much.
Well,
it's all over the place.
Yeah, and I will say for this show, as much as we've kind of talked about how time may be fluid with Black Lodge stuff, the other scenes in this show seem to kind of fall in a linear fashion, at least, or close to. But seeing this scene of Audrey feels like as if it's taking place minutes after the scene that we saw
Right.
last week
absolutely.
or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. And so it also, those scenes also feel outside of the normal show that we're watching. It feels really odd. And she,
Or they have the same argument frequently.
yeah, or that's possible as well. Yeah.
And she seems very forgetful also.
What if she has like
Yeah.
dementia or something, and he's like her caretaker and is always just kind of trying to distract her from her? She's always trying to find Billy, right?
10-minute Tom from 50 First Dates.
I can't find Billy for the 19th time this week. I've got deadlines.
I am so
Yeah.
tired.
Well, I was like, I'm not going to say it. I'll tell you later. I think too, like her whole crisis in the last scene was so much geared towards getting him, like he felt like the thing that was holding her back. Now that crisis feels far more internal, of her being like, I don't know who I am. I feel like there's two of me. Like what? And you know what I mean? She's like having this really odd existential break in a really weird way. But yeah, I'm fascinated by those scenes. I'm fascinated by them. I like them. So yeah, moving on from Audrey, let's talk about Freddie real quick before we talk about the sheriff department.
Eddie, what's it? Freddie from Essex?
Yeah,
His
I
accent
think.
was a little all over the place. I was like, okay, you can say your ghetto London. Okay.
I'm going to tell you the behind the scenes story of how this man was cast in Twin Peaks.
Love it.
This guy made a viral YouTube video of him doing like 36 accents, like 36 different accents. They're pretty good. David Lynch saw this video and was like, let's get him in. Let's put him in my show. 25 years in the making. I need that kid.
Why is he watching YouTube?
He
Are
was
you
watching
watching
it in
YouTube
theater.
on your
Yeah,
phone?
because he watched this.
His assistants compile, they just curate a bunch of YouTube videos and they call it going to the movies. And they go into his personal theater. If he knew that the primary avenue for people seeing those videos was their phones.
Time for your movies, David.
You're saying that kid isn't from all those places? And
You'll
can
tell me
speak
when
like
my
that?
quinoa's ready, right?
Who directed this? This is good stuff.
A Mr. Yo Utube.
A foreign film. My favorite.
I hope Monica Bellucci's in this one. It's not even. I don't even do a David Lynch. It's just a Gordon Cole impression. Like I don't have a David Lynch impression. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. What were you saying?
I really liked Freddy's character because like
interesting.
the scene starts off with just James, which you don't know a lot about, and like this Freddy, and he's just crushing walnuts with his fingers.
He's not crushing
They're
walnuts. He's
disintegrating.
obliterating walnuts.
Dust.
And you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
I didn't know what they were at first. I'm like, this man's like snapping explosions. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Because you're watching it on your phone, weren't you?
Oh, shit.
I'm so disappointed.
But yeah. So his whole story. It's very long. That is a long scene. We're dedicating a lot of time to hearing the superhero origins of the Green Glove.
Loved it. Loved it.
And
It looked like he was wearing like one of those Hulk Smasher toy hands.
Yeah.
Which I
That's
think,
what
I
like,
think Tyler
Hulk
mentioned
hand?
the first time we saw him, or someone did when he walked into the bar. Because I think the first time we see Freddy is when he.
I was
comes
going to
into
say,
the
we've
bar.
seen him before, but where was it?
So
We've
when
seen him
James,
before?
yeah, the first time James goes to the Roadhouse.
So, like,
that
episode
Freddy is
1 or
with
2,
him.
maybe?
Yeah, early. God damn it! Sorry, I'm making a lot of noise with this as I'm trying to adjust it. But yeah, we see him early, and I'm pretty sure that someone mentioned like, was that guy wearing a Hulk hand? And I'm like, more than you know.
I'm ready.
He's wearing Walmart's Great Value Hulk hand.
All right, a couple things about this.
Yes.
One, when he got the glove, it was an open package and there was only one glove, right?
Yes.
Where's the other glove and who's got it? And is it super powered? 2.
It's actually the other person wearing it. He's sucking all the power out of their hand. They can't do anything.
That's why when he
Shriveled
takes it
arm.
off, it bleeds, he said. Because he's ripping that other person's hand off.
Oh man, sucks for that dude.
And earlier, the arm tells Dougie, rip his hand off. Oh, shit.
Oh.
We just cracked the walnut wide open.
Okay, other thing. Prediction. We
We haven't done that for a while. But.
We've got I mentioned a showdown earlier where Battling Bud's gonna have to punch somebody, right?
Okay.
Oh man,
That was in the last episode I said that, right?
he better.
Riley's a fan already.
Now you're thinking, oh, it's just gonna be him and the Green Glove guy, right? He's gonna be involved. Green Glove Boy is going to be in this brawl, but there's a third contestant. Sarah Palmer is watching Battling Bud boxing videos to learn his technique.
She's doing her homework.
She's doing her research.
That's why it was on repeat.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the one punch she just can't figure out. So she just has it on a repeat. She's just getting hammered because she just can't figure it out. Hopefully it loosens her mind up, absorbs better.
Right.
Anyway, somehow they're all going to be in a battle royale, or Battling Bud teams up with Green Glove, and but it's like a Phantom Menace. Like he's stuck behind an energy shield. They're fighting.
Oh, my favorite movie trope: the energy shield block.
And Sarah Palmer's going to kill Battling Bud, and Green Glove's going to be like, no! and then he'll come in and he'll kill Sarah Palmer, who is not Sarah Palmer anymore. She is either the doppelganger or she is just the legion that is the Black Lodge members in one now. So, there you go.
Satan of some sort.
But we did see her remove her... Okay, this is getting off into a whole other thing, so we'll wait for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
we'll talk
we'll
about it.
definitely
I got- yeah.
fucking face.
But anyway,
removing.
Battle Royale. Gonna happen.
Good. I like that. So
Battle
that,
Royale in the basement of the cloning facility. Brought it back.
On pay-per-view.
cage match. So yeah, I and that's the second time we hear the question mark now has a name in these episodes. The fireman is the giant. So we know that he also has met with this. He has obviously gone to White Lodge ? Is that is that how you want to differentiate that at this point? But yeah, so that's really interesting. We also get the scene of because James goes into the Great Northern, right?
Yeah.
And he hears
The same sound that's coming from Ben Horn's office.
Yeah. So we get more of that strange
Oh
hum.
man, how great would it be if
Northern.
this is a whole troll thing by David Lynch? It's just like a leaky furnace in the basement or something.
During the credits, it's just like 90% of the credits is that, and then the guy who is sweeping in that other scene just comes in with a wrench and tightens it down. The hum disappears, cuts the black.
Cuts back to Ben Horn's office. It's gone now.
I hope it's an Icelandic monk choir. Go back to the beginning.
Norwegians
Real
are
quick
weird.
about credit scenes. Ben burned something, a piece of paper.
Or Ed.
Ed, sorry, not Ben. Ed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that seem like a big thing, or is that something that I missed that was just like the wrapping to something that he ate?
I am not sure. I honestly didn't pay enough
It was a
attention.
love note he was going to give Norma. That's what I decided. I'm really just rooting for them and don't understand what happened.
Yeah, who's this other guy? What's his name? Wilson? No, that's
Wilson!
This is what
I don't know, but
with a double R.
Oh, Walter. That's what it is.
Walter.
And the way he was, that's like exactly why people are like, oh, I don't want to franchise my perfect little place. He was saying all the things you don't say.
Exactly, yeah. This guy, not good at business. But I'd take
Well,
Bobby
good at-
business over this guy. So let's talk about the sheriff department. The first thing they do is get lovely sandwiches for their lunch.
Yeah, that made me
He
hungry.
orders cheese. Oh, yeah, it made me hungry. Like him just describing them, I was like, "There's an Arby's down the road."
I would love a just cheese sandwich
There's something
right now.
about just like a nice paper wrapped sandwich.
You're absolutely
man.
right.
True.
Damn.
True.
And then Chad gets fucked. Finally.
Finally. And Sheriff Truman's on the other end of that fucking.
Do they even say what they're specifically arresting him for?
or how they
No.
found out.
There's like, you
I
know.
just don't remember.
You've been watching it for a
You're
while.
no
damn well what shit.
I mean, I don't think I have to remind you of season 1 of Twin Peaks. The way that like criminal justice works in Twin Peaks is questionable.
I'm like, well, I guess they don't need to read him his rights because he should already know him being
Yeah,
a cop.
he
It
knows
would
so.
be
He knows
hilarious
his
if they don't
Freedom
even.
yourself, asshole.
I don't even think they know about him like taking the letter. I think it was just the conference room, him eating his lunch in the conference room. And you're like, we know you did, you piece of shit. And they're like, you have your sandwiches right here. Honestly, actually, yeah, that's pretty.
That's
obvious.
it. That's
That's
it.
just them taunting him.
So yeah, and then they go on their hike out to Jack Rabbit's palace, where they then put dirt in their pockets and walk 253 yards or feet. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they, they go a little ways in the woods and find a naked woman. Does anyone recognize?
Yes.
Okay.
She fell out of the box.
I just want to make sure that everyone. Yeah.
So when they are, I mean, this isn't really that cool, but I thought it was a little cool. That scene with her in the first episode, right?
Yeah, it's like one or two.
Yeah.
She, everything in that is like really sporadically edited. The frame rates are weird. It's like jittering back and forth all the time. As they get closer to her, the frame rate of the camera drops pretty significantly.
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't even notice that. That's a cool.
Like even before it like reveals her, like just the shots of them walking in the woods is, I'm like, ugh, what do I have, like glaucoma? Like what's going on? And then, because glaucoma lowers your frame rate of
That's what she
vision.
has.
Yeah.
If you don't get it treated, that's what happens to your eyes.
They just disappear.
Also, does she?
I
does
never
she
look
have,
directly at them. I don't. Oh,
does she have 3 slits in her head?
I'm not sure
it's
exactly.
kinda random,
how many,
like-
yeah.
Okay, I was
There's
wondering.
at least 3. I think.
I was wondering if it was just 3, and it like was like symbolic of like her having her third eye removed type of thing.
Yeah.
It's actually just silly putty. It's literally just silly
Which,
putty.
when they end up taking her away, you'd think like, police department, they'd have like some basic first aid. They would think, oh, these open wounds, we better bandage them up. I don't know.
There are several wounds in this that they fail to adequately take care
Oh,
of.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, I'm sure. But yeah, so they find her, who is named Nido, I believe, in the credits listed as.
Oh, okay.
And
Who's Experiment in the credits?
Experiment is the glass box monster.
Oh, okay.
That's who that is. So, and then Andy, we get to see a character that we've never seen in the Black Lodge go into the Black
yeah.
Lodge. Or
Really
the
surprised
this
me.
White Lodge in this case.
I wasn't expecting Andy to be the one to be taken away. I was
Yes.
thinking maybe
Same.
Sheriff Truman or
Or Hawk.
Hawk.
He's earned it.
I wonder if it makes sense because he is he's the most childlike.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is it surprised me so much when like Andy like disappeared and like there was so much excitement. I was like, this is crazy. But at the same time, like it makes so much sense to me because the only people we've seen there are Cooper, Andy, and I guess Freddie has been there.
right.
And they
yeah.
all, for me, they all have one thing in common is I feel like, I guess, well, Freddie, before his experience, he was walking down the alley and he was just talking about like, man, like, I'm kind of wasting my life away. Like, I really want to help people. And he wants to be a better person. And that's when he has that experience. Cooper is obviously like a very lawfully good person. He's just filled with so much good.
There's a purity.
And it's the same with Andy. He's like a very pure kind of childlike individual, and we've only seen those kind of people in that location.
Yeah.
Well, in that location for reasons like that. Like I think when other people do, like Laura obviously had some connection there, and anyone connected to Bob or Mike. But I think that was because of it's very distinct why they're there.
Well, I guess there's a difference between like the White Lodge people and the
yeah.
Black Lodge.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we're talking about like the
Sure,
fireman's
sure.
house
Okay.
or whatever. But
Yeah.
but yeah, also where Laura was some form of Laura or energy
or
that
something?
was
Something.
birthed. I think that's really interesting. And I think it's funny. I think that you can kind of see a little bit of this if you go back and rewatch the series, like rewatching it this time, kind of knowing that Andy is going to grow up and be a White Lodge guy.
Yeah.
They do some interesting things. Those scenes in season 2 of him just staring at the Owl Cave map, like trying to like process it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He does seem like drawn to these supernatural or like metaphysical things like that. Which
And
is
it's
really
maybe
interesting.
that he has a feeling towards
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
yeah.
Like they draw him a little bit more. He's more sensitive to it,
Yeah.
like the Force.
Just like the Force. But yeah, I love this scene. Visually, we see some weird prop that we've never seen. There's like a bizarre genie's lamp.
Yeah.
Genie lamp.
He's holding something in his hand that the smoke.
Oh yeah.
First of all, the smoke like all moving backwards and kind of like congealing into that column and going up.
It's his
And
young
then
living
him
diffuser.
seeing- yeah, yes, he's diffusing frankincense into the air to open his chakras, and then he can see the entire. He sees the experiment. He sees Bob. He sees Naito. He sees two Coopers.
And he sees like him and Lucy just like walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That's just a cool. I think it's just one of those cool, like almost spiritual awakening moments, possibly that Andy has, which is really rad. And then he disappeared. I like that he's very like unceremoniously just like blinked out of the White Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
He's just out of there. But then the next thing we see Bobby. Hawk, yeah. I almost call him Michael Horse, which is the actor's name. Hawk and Truman walking around, but we see like 2 or 3 of them. Like
like
in
these
different
shadows
places.
flickering and moving until they kind of formulate, and then he comes.
Yeah,
Kind of
they
reminiscent
end
of
up
like
saying
the Cosmic
station.
Housewives. Is that what we called? Yeah, the gas station.
Oh, yeah,
people.
yeah. Cosmic Housewives, yes. Yeah, very similar to that, and them kind of like phasing in and out. And then that Andy's line is one of my favorites. Anytime that Andy takes is the person in the room who knows what's going on, I just love it when he's like, "This woman's in trouble. There are people who want her dead, so we need to take her back and put her in a cell, and we can't tell anyone about this." And they're just like, "Okay, sure."
Right.
Where are we again?
Where the hell were you? Where did you find her?
Yeah. So that's all great, and then they take her back, and Lucy gives her pink bathrobe that's been there since that time that dog got lost in here.
So who's the other dude in the set?
Yeah, let's
Have we
talk
seen him
about that.
before?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Just a fucked up mouth having
Yeah.
guy.
So are we supposed to think that the stuff coming out of his mouth is similar to the poison or whatever it was that was inside of Mr. C after the car crash?
Oh yeah.
That was
Possibly.
what I
It's very
thought.
reminiscent
We
of
also
that, for
saw
sure.
when that car crash happened outside
kid.
the Double R, that one kid was like throwing up that brown liquid.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
This is just what happens when you eat too many warheads in one sitting. You burn a hole through your cheek.
That's true.
Get sent to jail. You ate a 10th one? Get in there.
I would have
zoom in
believed
really
that in
close-
second grade.
If you zoom in really close in part 8, you just see a 12-year-old at the base of that mushroom cloud who's like, "Oh no!"
The whole third season just ends up being an ad for Warheads.
This shit's amazing.
It literally hurts your mouth.
It's like a weapon that is fun. Anyways,
So a weapon.
The scene in the prison was very reminiscent of the scene in season 1 where Bobby and Mike are in prison with James and they're barking.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, we get another guy who just cannot speak for himself. Is just literally imitating everything he hears,
Right.
Including Naito's like weird clicking and like screeching, whatever that is.
I thought they were like communicating at first. I was like, what are they saying?
Mm-hmm.
But no, he was just imitating.
Yeah, just imitating everything. Yeah. What I like, and also we just get a great Andy line of him just going over to Chad's cell and just sternly just giving him that, just wagging that finger right in his face.
Like he's a bad dog.
Yeah, you give
Bad.
good policemen a bad name. Chad.
And Lucy is loving it.
Yeah.
She's there for it.
Oh man, he's gonna be so stoked when he sees that chair that she bought. He's gonna love it.
Can we talk about what he sees in the White Lodge real quick?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Because the one that I didn't, everything was things that we'd kind of seen here or there. He even looks to like a few minutes in the past when he was with the naked lady who's you have a name for it, I can't remember it.
Nido.
But he also, there's one where he's like walking Lucy somewhere in the police station. Clearly, it's just like, are they randomly connected? And then how does he know exactly what to do when he came out? I almost wonder if he almost saw the next couple of days or something.
Yeah.
But everything else seemed to be somewhat recycled. He was just kind of learning things that we have seen.
Yeah.
Is there anything else important in that skylight vision?
I can't remember anything. That
I wrote
stuck out
down
to me.
everything, but I don't know if it really.
You wrote down every single thing that
Yeah.
you saw. Well, is there anything
hear it.
else?
Okay, so let me see. The scene of Laura being sent down, the Godalite guy, the girl screaming when they announced that Laura's dead.
Which is the second time we've seen that this season.
Oh,
we
when was
see
the
it at the
first time?
very beginning of the show. The very beginning of season 3, we see that very slow motion with no sound of that girl running through the courtyard at Twin Peaks High. Or whatever.
And then like the picture of Laura,
With the
NATO.
angels.
With the angels on the
Yeah,
side.
with the angels. And then NATO?
Nido.
Nido. The two Coopers like flashing between the two and then showing
Right.
both of them. And it showed Cooper with the long hair. So if they see him, then Andy will know that
True,
he's
yeah.
not the
So
real
he's
Cooper
seen-
because
yeah.
he's seen both of them.
Yeah.
And no one else really has seen that.
True.
True,
Like
Twin
side by
Peaks, yeah,
side,
no one's
so-
seen him, yeah.
Then there was a phone ringing.
Oh,
Okay.
true.
Someone is on
a
hold.
blinking light.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then Lucy, and then Nido again. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then the number 6.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we've
the
seen
light
the
bulb,
six,
yeah.
yeah.
Three
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like jump. It's either jump cut or it's different poles.
Yeah, well, it's. I mean, I think it's interesting. We do see a number 6 pole at the Fat Trout Trailer Park in Firewalk with Me. It's where the kid gets hit by the car. There might be another.
Do they
place
always
I'm
have the
forgetting.
number 6?
Yes.
Oh, that is something
Yeah.
I've not noticed.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
So yeah, interesting. But yeah, so that stuff's really great. I fucking love that shit.
Oh, I have like one theory surrounding this
Okay.
stuff. So Freddy, the like glove he is like instructed to get is the right glove, and when Andy's in that place with the fireman, he raises his right hand when he says, "I am the fireman." And so I'm wondering if he kind of, and then when Andy goes and he's like, she's really important and she, like, people are trying to kill her, we need to keep her safe. Because the fireman was kind of appearing in Twin Peaks a lot in the beginning, I wonder if it's no longer safe for him to go. And so that was kind of his way of getting them, like getting his power through to Twin Peaks was through the glove with Freddy.
Interesting.
So I
Most
wonder-
efficient way. Some kid in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's going to square off with like the Black Lodge at some point, if like Bob's going to come back and that kid's going to have to punch him into the oblivion or something. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I do think there are several times where like right and left hands are differentiated as far as the ring. There's also in season 2 when Bob sticks his hand out of the Black Lodge and
yeah.
everyone's hands are shaking. Gordon Cole's hand is shaken
I forgot
this
about all the
season.
hand shaking.
Yeah.
What arm is missing from the guy with the arm missing?
It's his right.
Is it?
It's his
No,
left.
it's his
arm.
left.
It's his
Oh,
left.
it's his
Yeah, left arm. So yeah, interesting.
Then
Let's
we have literally the arm, the character of the arm.
right. Yeah, yeah. And now the evolution of the arm,
Yeah.
which is a fucking tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Plant an arm, you'll get a tree.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. You know what I mean?
Only those who know will get it. So yeah, that and then I think the last thing we have to talk about is Sarah Palmer, right?
Yes.
On Twin Peaks. Let's talk about Sarah Palmer.
It's like the most fascinating thing, but it's also scary and disturbing.
It
And like
is.
that
It's
actress
creepy.
like freaks me the hell out.
That
She is so good.
Yeah.
Oh man, she is so good.
that scene in her house. I mean, we've seen some disturbing shit in that house, and this is pretty bad. Like just that loop, that electrical buzz, and then the loop of that clip, where she is watching that boxing, and it's just that never ending. And I think it's one of those things too. Like I feel like in this season in particular, there are very specific things shown in black and white, and I think a lot of those things are a direct reference to black and white lodges, because it's not just flashback stuff, because we've seen flashback stuff of the Black Lodge with Cooper and Bob, and that's not in black and white, but seeing Gordon like see himself, and in his dream it's weird. Like but yeah, I was talking to Riley, it's kind of that boxing match feels like this representation of this never ending fight between the white and black lodges. You know what I mean? It feels so specific to that, and also the fact that that scene is taking place at where a lot of really vile shit has taken place that we have seen, like Maddie's murder in that room and stuff like that. And yeah, just putting Sarah Palmer back in the middle of it again feels it just feels awful.
And so we'd heard that clatter in the back of her house when Hawk came to the door last time. So just the question is how is Sarah Palmer in there? Is it a Black Lodge entity? Because that face removal thing, we've seen that somewhere, but we haven't.
Laura did it in
Yeah.
the
Laura
Black
did it,
Lodge.
Yeah.
But when
But we
she
haven't seen it in
did
the world, have we?
No.
No.
When Laura did it, I'm trying to remember what happened. It was just kind of like her face was
light
filled with
behind
light.
it, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Just a very like a white
And
light.
this was not that.
No. You see like
Like
there's
a hand and then a smile.
yeah.
And Bob was credited in like the credits of the show. And so I think that was like his face coming through hers.
Oh.
I think
Or was
earlier
it
his
earlier?
face
It
was
was
shown.
in the. It was like when Andy was looking at the thing. It was showing the demon vomiting up his
Oh,
face.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. So we do see that. But yeah, some weird imagery, and actually that smile, like those teeth, that face that appears. There's like a David Lynch painting. I'll have to pull it up and see if I can find it. But there's an actual painting.
It
that I
looks
think
like
it's
the
just
orange
a painting
meme.
that they're using. Of
Really?
his
Smiling orange.
annoying orange. Is that what you're
Annoying
talking about?
orange.
No, I don't remember what it is.
Oh, okay.
They like Photoshop and rotoscope just the human teeth on the orange with the eyes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Annoying orange.
Annoying orange. Yeah.
It's actually one of David Lynch's favorite series.
What have you been watching on
We got to
TV,
get the
dude?
orange and we got to get the guy with the voices.
I went to the movies and saw Annoying Orange.
That Yao Tube really knows his
Yellow
way.
Tube's a prolific man. I love David Lynch so much. What a precious soul. But yeah, so that there's like a couple things. That whole scene is uncomfortable and gross for multiple reasons. It's another example of I think that some of the criticisms that people have this season is the egregious violence against women, which fair enough. Twin Peaks is not a safe place for women. It feels, but yeah, just
I mean, that's been pretty prevalent throughout the whole series.
yeah,
so.
no, yeah, it has. But I think like this, I think that just becomes more apparent in this season because it's here's where we don't
2017.
pull punches anymore. You know what I mean? And I think that Firewalk with Me also starts. Anyways, we could have a whole discussion about this. We're not going to right now. But yeah. So that scene, that guy is
Just
gross.
this disgusting, vile.
Yeah.
dude.
One of
He
the
looked like-
grossest things about him is that his shirt says "Truck You" on it. Like,
That is
I
absolutely
wrote that in my
true.
notes and I put "woof, dude" next to it. So I was just like, "Oh,
You can only buy that at very specific Walmarts. Yeah.
If you want to pick up elderly women at the bar,
Oh gosh.
wear something
truck
else.
you."
Oh
This
man.
guy reminded me of Leo quite a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Leo
Oh,
was
Leo
a trucker,
vibes.
right? The ponytail,
Oh,
the
yeah.
hat,
Yeah.
everything. Like
They're
he
like the
looked like
incels of the road.
he could have been a grown-up version of Leo.
Incel road truckers? Is that
My favorite subreddit.
Yeah. We'll talk about incels later, I'm sure. But yeah, what a shocking fucking scene of her just
Seriously.
removing her face and then biting a man's neck out of him. Like,
And the missing flesh is nowhere to be seen.
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
missing
It's
chunk
fun.
of his neck.
It's in
she's
her body.
clean.
Like
Yeah.
she
She
doesn't have
absorbed it.
blood on her mouth at all. It's just gone.
Yeah. It's in the Black Lodge.
When that guy comes up and like confronts her, I was like, that's what she should go with. Like, if I did that, where's the missing?
Yeah.
You know?
Where's the weapon? Where's the blood?
Oh my gosh, that's another scene where like Grace Zabriskie is great. That performance of her just being like, "Oh my god, oh, this man just died in front of me," and he's like, "What the fuck did you do?" And she's like, "I didn't do anything, you dumb
my
piece of
drink."
shit." Prove it. Yeah, like just that, like the shift in like tones and everything in that scene is absolutely incredible.
Also, so it's the casting for. Okay, I realized that the casting for Laura Palmer and so Cheryl Lee and Grace Zabriskie as her mother, right?
Yeah.
So in this scene specifically, there's weird stuff, but I noticed like she was able to do like the same sort of like half smirk face that Laura does. She looked exactly like Laura Palmer's mom. Like it
That's
was
crazy.
freaky. It was insane. Great stuff. Great
They're
casting.
awesome. Honestly, anytime you can watch an interview where they get the like Ray Wise, Grace Zabriskie, and Cheryl Lee together, they are a joy to watch interact with each other because I really think that they feel like a family. I think especially Cheryl Lee because she was so young when they started filming Twin Peaks that they really felt like parents to her, and they're a delight. They're really something and good. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
I just have a question because
You
we
wanna
had
talk
some
about?
Philip Jeffries in this.
Yeah.
Do we know how much he would have? Because what year did he die?
David
The
Bowie.
2018?
David Bowie.
Was that last year?
No,
it
it
was-
was
it
it
was
was
a couple
like
years ago.
2016 or 17.
I want to
Okay.
say it's 16.
Why? So I mean, if they filmed this in 2016, why wasn't he in it?
He was
sick.
He was sick. Yeah.
Do we know? I don't know what year David Lynch started writing this, but I'm curious how much he would have liked him to be involved. I'm curious if we would have gotten a bunch of him being part of this story. Has he talked about that?
I mean, the only thing I really know is I think the story I've told on the podcast already, where I know that when they were kind of finalizing the script, David Lynch called David Bowie to be in
Yeah.
it, and David Bowie kind of told him that wasn't an option.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, we really want Philip Jeffries in this, and David Bowie's like, sweet, do whatever you need to do as long as you don't use my voice because I hated my performance. That's all I really know about that. So I'm not sure.
So we don't know how big of a character. Because I mean, I guess if he called him, then yeah, he would have been physically present. I'm just curious how much.
I mean, I think it is telling. We do get, honestly, most of the Philip Jeffries footage we have was released in 2014 with the missing pieces.
Right.
Like,
Oh, that's true.
The unedited version
Yeah.
of him coming in, that full scene, and
Yeah.
also all the stuff of him in Argentina is also part of the missing pieces. So I think that for sure Philip Jeffries, at least from like immediately before 2014, kind of going into when they would have started writing, was an integral part of this. And he's definitely like his presence, his name is thrown around
A lot.
by a lot of
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
For sure, yeah. But I don't know, does that translate to more actual screen time for a character named Philip Jeffries, or was he always meant to be this?
You know, we've had
Weird
zero
thing, you know?
mention of is who's Cooper's mentor who goes crazy and is the villain for the bad part of season 2?
Oh,
Windom
I can't
Earl?
remember. I
Wyndham
forgot.
Earl. Yeah, do they want to pretend that didn't happen? Is that where we're
I
at with it?
think David Lynch would like to never talk about Wyndham Earl.
Okay.
again. Probably.
I'm curious because he did have some like supernatural-ish like leaning, so I'm curious if that
They showed him a
will make
little
some
bit
sense.
towards the beginning of the season, like old footage, right?
I
of
don't
Black Lodge stuff.
remember if he's in that footage or not. I can't
I thought
remember.
he was briefly in that, but
I think the main old footage I remember from the beginning is the laughing scene with Coop and
Yeah.
Bob, with the doppelganger and Bob, I guess. But yeah, I don't think Lynch is a huge Wyndham Earle fan. But yeah, anything else that we've forgotten? I think we covered pretty much everything. But yeah, we're definitely ramping up to some stuff. We've got 4 episodes left of Twin Peaks, and that's it. That's the end of Twin Peaks. Maybe we'll talk about Rumor Roundup after the music during recommendations, because some shit is going on. But yeah, so next week we'll watch episodes 15 and 16 and discuss those. If you want to reach out to us about anything Twin Peaks related, you can email us at rewatchersonthepod@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at rewatcherspod. And we will take a brief musical break and be back with recommendations and rumors. See you soon. Welcome to the recommendations section of Rewatchers in the Lodge, where we talk about the other stuff that we are watching besides Twin Peaks. I guess I'll go ahead and start this week. This week I went and saw Joker, the movie that is tearing up the charts and everyone's hearts. Go see it. I don't know how to talk about this movie without touching the absolute pile of just shit that people have decided to build around it. It's a good movie. I don't think it's the best movie I've ever seen. It's definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen, as some professional critics I have seen label it, which is fucking astounding to me. Someone literally said, I went in with no expectations and can honestly say this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And you're wrong. You're just wrong.
This movie has hit the core of all what's wrong with internet conversation. The hot takes, the PC crap.
I showed my favorite
So
tweet I've
convoluted.
seen. I think I showed Riley this morning, was like, I just finished my 8,000 word review of Joker. Can't wait to see the movie. Just that's the whole climate around this. But Joaquin Phoenix's performance is great. I think that this movie has a lot of things I really love. It's got some real dumb shit that I really hate. I think the writing is pretty ham-fisted in a lot of this movie and cliched in ways that I was hoping it wouldn't be. Did anyone else see this? Has anyone else seen this?
Not
Okay,
yet.
you've
I
seen
saw
it. I want to talk to you about. I have a very specific criticism that is a little bit spoilery that pissed me off so bad. We'll talk about it.
Marcus,
excited.
did you tweet out after you saw it or before about if you think there was a tweet? I saw your tweet. It was like, if you think that a movie is created or the creators of a movie espouse what their movie is about, then you're a dumbass.
Yes.
Was that after you saw this?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's
Yeah.
what I saw that tweet. And I was like, he just saw Joker.
But yeah, I mean, this movie has a lot of DNA from other movies in it, and I think at different times, the fact this is a movie about the Joker is either its greatest weakness or something that elevates it in a way that's really great. But I think it's really good. It's gonna be one of the better movies this year, I think.
Yeah.
By a margin. And honestly, the problems that I have with it aren't necessarily things that I think need to be changed, but just are things I would have changed personally about it. But yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts that you want to add to that. That's all I saw. So
Yeah, I really loved it. It it hit me in a different way than I thought it would. It felt so much darker to me than I had anticipated for some reason. I don't know why. Like, I knew it had the rated R rating. I knew a lot of things about it, but man, it gives you this feeling of dread throughout that I haven't felt a long time in a movie. It's one of those movies that I haven't been able to stop thinking about for a while, and I haven't watched something like that for a very long time. It is very good. Like you said, it's most definitely not a perfect movie, and it's definitely not a movie for everybody.
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
go say that. I saw it with my girlfriend, and she had a very rough time during the whole movie. She was struggling.
yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. I want to see it again.
Yeah, I do too.
Joaquin is amazing. This movie, I don't pay attention a lot to like production design, but in this, it stood out to me a lot. It was really well done, really, really well done. Costume design, production design, cinematography was really good. Yeah, go see it.
Yeah.
And then I also watched The Aviator this
Oh,
week.
okay.
I had never seen it. And it was just on Netflix, and I was like, "Let's go."
Martin Scorsese also in the news this week for angering nerds everywhere. Sorry, anyways, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I really enjoyed it. It was not what I expected. Martin Scorsese makes really weird choices sometimes with his movies, and they're always really long. But
Would you describe them as like a theme park ride? Like they're just a roller coaster? All right, no, let's not get into it. I consciously was not going to bring that up, so I'm sorry.
but two movies that hit hard about mental illness.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
very interesting. Yeah,
Cool.
good stuff.
Cool, yeah, Aviator. I haven't watched that in years. I remember not loving it, but I wonder if I'd like it more now, or I don't know.
It was way different than I thought it would be.
Was this your
If
first
you-
view? This was the first time you'd
Yes.
Okay.
If you watch it for the performances, it's a great movie. We can talk about
Yeah,
it later.
we'll talk about it. Riley, what do you have for recommendations?
Season 5 of Peaky Blinders came out this week.
Right.
And I've been really excited for it. It's a good show if you haven't watched it. It's pretty fun. Like British mobsters.
Yeah, that sounds
great.
delightful.
Yeah.
It's set in the 20s,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've wanted
Yeah.
to watch it for a long time. And
Yeah,
they're short
it's super
seasons.
good.
I just haven't done it.
What's that guy's name? Cillian
Cillian
Murphy?
Murphy.
Cillian Murphy? I don't know how to say it.
Cillian
either, but
Murphy.
Whatever. Yeah.
Is
He's
Tom
great.
Hardy in that show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't understand a damn word he says.
So is he playing his character from Taboo?
Or the Revenant.
He has
Or
a
the-
horrible
Just,
show
like,
called Taboo.
subtitle that because I couldn't
Just a
even
thick
pretend
accent.
to know what he said.
That's awesome. Tyler, what recommendations do you have for us?
I finished my Kurosawa trilogy.
Finally.
All
yeah.
right.
This one took me a lot of installments, just because my life is shit. I finally finished Ikiru, and I think that's my favorite one out of the three. I think
gorgeous.
by a pretty large margin. I mean, past 2 weeks I've watched some. I've recommended some sad shit.
Yeah.
Both about cancer. But yeah, it's a man who finds out he has stomach cancer, and he has to kind of decide what to do with the rest of his remaining days, and the effects that has on the world around him. It's kind of split into two parts, but in a non-equal way. And yeah, really, really good. Everything Kurosawa does well with camera and movement and lighting. Movement, especially in this film, is very, very well done. How he reflects the tone of the scene and the story with the visual of what's happening is something everyone should watch and learn from if they love film. And it's also a great story. It's also something that is deeply reflective. I cried. I didn't think I was going to, because just older movies of that era, and especially Japanese media in general, is very overdramatic, and so it's hard for me to emotionally connect with it. But there's a moment where he's on the swing where I was like, realized I was crying, and I was like, oh shit. So yeah, great movie. Watch it.
Yeah. I will say that was a movie also that it was maybe the first movie that I noticed the difference between your characters moving and your camera moving. Because I think that the first scene I showed you was there's a scene early in the movie where he gets told he has cancer, and the way that Kurosawa has the characters move into the camera creates the story. Like it's such an incredible, like the fact that he can do it with that movie in the same way that he does it with action sequences in these big samurai epics is incredible. Akira Kurosawa is amazing. You heard it here first.
Hot takes.
Mitchell, what did you have to recommend?
I also watched an old movie about someone who is trying to figure out what to do with their last days. Queen Latifah is great in The Last Holiday. Really, the spiritual
Is this the
descendant.
one with LL Cool J in it? Or is that something
Or is
else?
it's him or Common?
I think that it's LL Cool J.
Okay.
I think
sure
it's
it's
LL
LL
Cool
pretty
J.
sure.
Oh man,
I'm pretty sure I saw part of this on a plane once.
Yeah,
You
It's a
did.
good one.
Everyone did.
she stays at this amazing hotel in the Czech Republic. That's actually all I remember. It was a long time ago.
The only thing I remember about that movie is that Roger Ebert actually loved it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm
guy.
sure it's delightful. I mean, I saw it, but it was like a long time ago. But actually, this week I watched. I saw Friends in theaters, which was super fun. It was 4 episodes. I knew them all fairly well. 2 of them were Thanksgiving episodes, which Friends is kind of famous for. And they were not the 2 that I know the most well. And then the 2 middle ones, also, they're just really famous. If you watch Friends, they one's set in London and one's where they kind of find out that Chandler and Monica are together.
Classic.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic. If you've actually seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have.
But I grew up with 4 sisters who love that show, so I've seen it many times, only once fully sequentially. And everyone in the theater was wearing Friends t-shirts and clapped along with the beginning, which made me cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there was trivia beforehand, and I did decent, but I definitely was not. I was like, oh yeah, these are real Friends fans. Like, they really care about this. But it is fun to be around a lot of people who are really passionate about something. It's like, because we've kind of lost the art of like the midnight premiere when you were around those frickin' Lord of the Rings nerds, you know? I love Lord of the Rings, by the way. But it was really fun. I laughed a lot, and I think communal laughing. Comedies are struggling in theaters right now. Communal laughing. Wait, what?
No, it's funny. I know where you're going. I just need you to get there because just hearing that separate from
Anyway.
everything is so funny.
It just sounds like
It
you're
sounds
gathered
like-
in a bathroom.
It sounds like somewhere my therapist would send me.
You should go somewhere you can laugh with others.
I know
Joyful.
you love to laugh alone. Try it with others.
We do
This
mostly
is
laugh
different
alone.
from communion laughing, which is frowned upon
Which
in
is
some
blasphemous.
cathedrals.
and punishable by death.
When's your 3rd mass that day? Sometimes you can't help it.
When he drops the little wafer right before it goes in someone's mouth, I lose it.
Anyway, I can't remember what
I'm
else I
sorry,
saw.
I'm sorry,
I
I
saw
totally
something else
derailed
that I can't.
Communion laughing. Or, sorry, communal laughing.
Yeah, it's fun to laugh with other people who like really think it's hilarious and care. And that's
Yeah.
it's like how you like seeing a horror movie because you can feel that everyone else is scared around you. I don't think we have too many laugh out loud movies where we're in a theater full of people laughing anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also watched a YouTube video called Stuntmen React.
Sorry, YouTube.
Well, my assistant put me in a theater and was like, "Well, this is a movie." But it's on the YouTube. But it's called Stuntman React, and this is looking at John Wick. But it's 2 real stuntmen who are like, "Oh, here's how they did this.
Oh,
here's
cool.
how much he actually got hurt." And then they'll have scenes like there's one where they're like, "Here's what Keanu actually had to do because he does most of his own driving because there's an open door shot." And they're like, "That's actually only half a car." And then they showed like in the Fast and the Furious in Fast 5 how they're driving that tank. The tank is a car itself, and like I kind of knew that one, but I ended up watching 3 or 4. And if you like movie production, it is fascinating, and you get to hear from the guys who actually do the shit. And they also tell you how much of their own stunts actors really do, because like Tom Cruise really does. But when someone's like, "I did all my own stunts," bullshit. And there's some you can't do. Anyway, that was really fun. And then I watched The Politician on Netflix, which Ben Platt is a joy. And he sings 4 times. I count it. Because he is a joyful performer. But it has that Ryan Murphy quirk that's just not for everyone. And I watched Glee, and I watched season 1 of some horror murder show he had on Fox, but I haven't watched the...
Season 1 was the only good season.
I knew they made 2. I didn't even know they
What's
made
the show
1, 2.
called?
Scream Queens?
There it is. And he has this bizarreness he brings to it, but it's fun. It's very progressive if you're into that, but it is like the dynamics of the characters are just hilarious. What?
Okay.
If you're into that. No, but like some
You and I
people,
are not
like,
allowed to say anything.
yeah, it's true. Some people get really excited about it. They're like, "Oh gosh, this is breaking ground." I'm like, what I like about Ryan Murphy stuff is that it doesn't have to affect the actual story anymore. But anyway, he makes such a point of it. So
Cool. And that's a Netflix original.
it's a
right?
Netflix
Okay.
original, 8 episodes, and it's like people running for student body president, but it also gets way too serious. And it has some really funny, genuine, interesting conflict, and it's gonna have wasted time like every other show.
Cool. All right. Great. Justin, what did you have to recommend? To us?
Okay, so just first off, I want to do a quick amendment of my recommendation from last week for Suspiria.
Okay.
I want to strongly recommend this movie. Like, I was kind of wishy-washy
Wait,
about it last
Suspiria?
week. Yeah.
Fuck yeah! I'm so
so-
glad. Okay. Cool.
Last week I mentioned, I watched it last week. I have been thinking about it nonstop this week, and the more I've thought about it, and after reading some more reviews and just kind of just dwelling on this for all this time, I loved that movie.
Sweet.
So
I'm so happy.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that has become that's
The
a
new
very,
one, right?
Yes, the new one. Yeah, 2018. Yeah. Still haven't watched the 1977 one, the original one yet, but I'll get to that. So my
I will say, just be prepared for a very different experience.
that's what
but
that's what I've heard. Yeah. So this week's recommendation is it's a recommendation because I had a lot of fun. I watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure a lot of people have already seen this.
Yeah.
It came out a few years ago, but it's just stupid, and it kind of feels like it was made for TV, but it's like R-rated, so you can't put it on TV without heavily editing it. But yeah, it was just like, if you just want a dumb movie to just kick back and just kind of chuckle at things, like, it was fun. So,
And I think that movie actually has I wouldn't put it on the same level as like Cabin in the Woods as far as like sending up horror tropes. But it does some pretty smart stuff with that material that I really enjoy. Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, we'll briefly talk about rumors because starting basically the day after we recorded last week, Twin Peaks Twitter, it's totally a thing. It's very small, but I love it. Just blew up with rumors that started when the Hollywood Horror Museum, who Jennifer Lynch is a former board member of, tweeted, "Someone we know who is, quote, in the know just let something very interesting slip about the future of Twin Peaks. If it's true, we'll be squealing and giddy in 2020. Which also, April 8th, 2020 is the 30th anniversary of the airing of the pilot of Twin Peaks. So that's something to keep in mind. Anyways,
this is Jennifer Lynch who tweeted that?
So no, not her.
Or this second
This
hand?
is the Hollywood Horror Museum,
Okay,
which
got
she
it.
used to
Got
be a
it.
board member of.
And this tweet said someone we know.
Yes.
Okay.
Who is in the know.
Got it.
Which
The most
is probably her.
random way for this information to get
Yes,
out.
absolutely. So everyone was like, okay, fuck you, horror museum. Who gives a shit
You have
what
like
you
300 followers.
say? Yeah. And then Michael Horse, who is very active on Instagram, let me tell you, that guy's dogs are delightful, tweeted something very much not about his dogs, which was just a picture of him as Deputy Hawk in Twin Peaks, with Andy looking at him and shushing him with no caption. It was just that. The next, everyone was like, okay, this is kind of fucking weird, but maybe Michael Horse is fucking with us. He seems like that kind of guy. Then, the next day, Kyle MacLachlan tweeted this. A picture of him in a very, just looking dapper as fuck. Tweeted, love this dapper suit, but definitely thinking about ... donuts this morning.
This is dirty if it's not
Fucking
true.
weird. Yeah, it's. Here's the other thing. They've announced this box. Okay, no, we'll get to that actually. So,
The box set, right?
yes,
If this is all for a box
So
set, it's the
then-
worst blue balls of my life.
yes. Well, because it's already been. No, the
Speak for
box set has
yourself.
already been announced. Okay, so
Right.
that was announced.
So
months ago.
has had a Monica dream.
So the other thing about, I'll see the actual date here. So, okay, September 18th, so a few weeks ago, David Lynch tweeted this. Dear Twitter friends, I love the people in King County, which is where Snoqualmie Falls is, where they filmed Twin Peaks. I love the locations in King County. We had a perfect place to shoot Twin Peaks and perfect people to work with. Both Dow Constantine and Kate Becker are great. All in all, made shooting Twin Peaks there a dream. So everyone was like, oh, they just passed this bill. They're trying to get this bill passed in Seattle to increase tax benefits for filming companies. Fast forward to now where people are like, this Twin Peaks stuff has to be bullshit. Finally, they're going to David Lynch's Twitter page, I think. And now people are connecting the day that he tweeted this was the day that the Salish Lodge, which is the Great Northern, was closed for 3 days. No one was allowed into that building
No
for 3
way.
days. And the day after they opened again, the Salish Lodge Instagrammed a picture of Snoqualmie Falls and said, feeling Twin Peaks vibes today. Holy fuck.
my gosh.
It is all coming together.
It can't not be.
Now we go back to Kyle MacLachlan's picture,
do this to me.
which has now made its way from Twitter to Facebook. And Al Strobel, who plays Philip Gerard, the one-armed man, posts a comment underneath his picture, "Loose lips sink ships." And 20 minutes later, fucking deletes the comment. So then, some eagle-eyed person is looking. Oh, this tweet's been deleted.
Oh, what was it? Did it screenshot?
So here's what it was. They noticed. So there are 2 box sets coming out. One box set is releasing this month. It was called Twin Peaks: The Complete Television Collection. A week ago, every single fucking thing that mentioned this as the Complete Television Collection has now been changed to be called The Television Collection, removing the word complete from that.
Oh, really?
Now that's on its own. Who gives a fuck? But this is the 7th thing I've seen this week, and when I'm not used to seeing Twin Peaks shit, other than people posting dumb theories about how X-Men is part of Twin Peaks.
I did that today.
And then, let's see what else they have. Oh, yeah, and then the guy who plays the DJ in Part 8 of Season 3. Now, this one, we're getting to something that's a little unbelievable, because who the fuck would be telling the DJ from Part 8 of Season 3? But he posted this picture on Instagram of him shushing himself while holding a donut. Who knows? There's Twin Peaks stuff flying around. Now, I was thinking... Oh, also, the guy who plays... Andy had posted this on Twitter. Where
I can't imagine these people having Twitter and Instagram.
I know, it's really weird.
So weird.
So he had... Oh, shit. Don't look at this, actually. Anyways, he had posted something. Someone had posted something from towards the end of Season 3, something. And he had... basically this very overt Twin Peaks reference, and this guy and Harry Goaz, who plays Andy, had tweeted this week sometime.
When was that?
Don't know what that means. That was on Friday. So everyone thought maybe it was going to be today, because on October 6th, 2014 is when David Lynch and Mark Frost both posted that officially Twin Peaks Season 3 was happening. But there's just a lot of rumors flying around. Now, there are a couple things I hope it is not. There's been a Twin Peaks VR thing that has been in the works for a very long time. I really fucking hope it's not that. But Hollywood Horror Museum has had so many responses of people being like, "You fucking idiots, bullshit." And they're like, listen, if it was something like that, we wouldn't be tweeting about it.
Yeah,
basically.
wouldn't be excited.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, the Hollywood Horror Twitter account has a very high standard.
True.
Let me tell you.
They don't leak bullshit.
If they tweeted out something about a VR game, Bela Lugosi would roll over in his fucking grave. So yeah, who knows? Now, if it is something that's happening in 2020, I don't think it's going to be something on the scale of Season 3, where it's 18 new episodes. But the idea of, and we can talk about this once we get to the end of this season, if these rumors are still around, the idea of doing another Firewalk with Me type thing, where it's something that ties in but is very, you know what I mean, like something like that. I don't know.
It's just the story of Janie E.
If we just see Janie E, if we just see the God of Light guy finally get a light, I don't know. Like something like that could be very interesting, and I'd love to have just another like 2-hour David Lynch movie.
Cool.
I at this point I don't care what it is,
Or
like,
something
I'd love to see
akin
something
like
else.
to the Missing Pieces, but
Yeah.
for the return.
For sure. And it's long been rumored there's a lot of stuff that they shot that was not used. So it could be that, you know.
It's so hard to hide filming, though. That's why, like,
For sure.
that place that was the Great Northern being closed for 3 days, where they, like, that's the only hint to me that for sure is, like, they could have been, you know, using it for 3 days. And, like, for Game of Thrones, in the end, they would, like, fly the wrong old actors different places and get them spotted. And so, like, it's interesting that this is happening, because if David Lynch really didn't want it to happen, I feel like the actors at least would not be participating in it.
Right.
The museum and maybe someone posting about the hotel would make sense to me.
Yeah.
But
but it feels like there's just like this convergence of things where it's like this uptick in like those people posting specifically about Twin Peaks, where it's not just like coyly posting about it, you know.
And the way it's so secretive, it seems.
So I don't know what it is, but hopefully that means there's new. I never dreamed there would be more Twin Peaks stuff, just because I feel like we are so lucky to get 18 episodes in the way that we did. And so I'm excited. Even if nothing happens, honestly, this week has been a goddamn joy to just watch people lose their minds and just have these little crumbs just explode. It's been really fun.
I
So-
hope it's just you go ahead.
I was gonna say I really hope that VR thing comes to fruition though, because whatever that is, I want to try it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's been in the works for a while. I know that at like David Lynch's Festival of Disruption thing, like people could try it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that he's involved to some extent. I don't know what extent. I also found out this week that David Lynch in the 90s was in the very early stages of making a video game with Capcom, which would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But also, if you want weird David Lynch stuff, someone made a game that you can download on itch.io called David Lynch Teaches Typing. And it is a typing simulator that and that just quickly descends into surreal madness, all the while a computerized David Lynch is telling you what a great job you're doing. Check it out; it's very good.
Did you see that David Lynch did a masterclass?
Yes.
Haven't we talked about
I
this?
get ads on YouTube all the time.
Part of
for
that
it.
master class is him watching a scene from It's a Beautiful Life that you do not see, and him just being like,
Oh,
and
you
crying.
did tell us about this.
Yeah.
I forgot about
So,
that. I
yeah.
tagged you in it
How
anyway.
it's done. A while back, there was the whole rumor mill between David Lynch and Tool.
right, yeah.
If he continues with the theme of Roadhouse bands,
Fuck, dude.
holy shit,
Oh my
I'm excited.
That would be amazing.
And if that's what they were doing to that time, if they were filming that scene,
Yeah.
that could be
Oh my!
incredible.
I didn't even think about connecting that, but yeah. Oh, that would be really cool. Oh man, I'm so excited.
I hope he doesn't just go to a prequel of their Lucy and Andy's trip to Bora Bora, because I was going to write that later for fan fiction fun.
Yeah, we'll see. You could. I mean, that's the conception of Wally Brando. I think it's pretty much.
Happened in Bora Bora. Oh, if they make more Twin Peaks and there's no Wally Brando, I'm out. I'm just not going to watch it.
But yeah, that's it. I think that wraps it up for us. We'll be watching the next two episodes, parts 15 and 16 next week. Only 2 weeks away from finishing up Twin Peaks as we know it as of now. Who knows? Next week there may be a whole new world that we're preparing to explore.
dazzling
It's
place
exciting.
we
I'm
never
glad that
knew.
happened while we were doing the podcast.
Yeah,
So,
which is really cool. Another really cool thing. So yeah, all right. Well, signing off. This is Tyler Harris.
Marcus Marinos.
Riley Harris.
Tyler McKinley.
Mitchell Marshall.
Justin Hammer.
#Twin Peaks Season 4.